Welcome to episode 6 of the Type 15 FPL podcast. I'm your host, Ryan. I'm joined as always by my co-hosts, Marcus and Tom. How are you, lads? Good to see you.
I'm good.
And this week we have another very special guest. This is a man whose record of wearing a Boston Celtics singlet every day for a year is still unbroken. A man who had to change the address on his driver's license to Lee Cartwright's couch because of the time he was spending at the Man House. And a man who was the inspiration, or whose life was the inspiration for the film 27 Dresses. It's Luke Wheeler. Welcome, Luke.
Thank you guys. Good
Explain
intro.
the 27
Glad to be
Dresses
here.
one just quickly. No. Explain it, Ryan. What's the 27 Dresses?
27 Dresses, Katherine Heigl, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Oh,
Never the bride.
never
That's
the
it.
bride.
It's
Yeah.
coming, Lukey. It's
It's
coming.
coming. It's coming. Come on.
Football's coming home, boys. Don't worry.
There's a reason you're always in the groom's parties because you're a top bloke and we love you. So it's
That's
good
true.
to have you
I've
here,
been in about 4 now. It's crazy.
racking up those navy suits.
Mhm.
Let's kick off the podcast by reviewing the head-to-head results from Game Week 5. It was an incredible Game Week 5, some massive scores. So well done to those of you out there who did well. Let's start with Dan Baker and his huge win over Bailey. The matchup between these two lads is emblematic for how their season is going so far. Dan Baker crushed Bailey, cementing his place in the top 6, and Bailey languishing at second from last. Nikolai, he went down in a tight game against Dave Murray. The captain choice is proved critical in that one, as Dave's captain of Sun got him the win over Nikolai, who chose Salah. Tommy, you're the only person to play the wild card and score below 70 this week. So it shows you some of the big scores on offer. You went down to Brian, who also played his wild card, but the big difference between the two, Spurs players. Tom, you listened to Lee's advice. You ditched Son and Kane. Brian cruised to a comfortable win.
Oh, I will
Did you
get into that when we discuss our failed bold predictions of last week. There's a big reason why I failed. We'll get to that later on.
Lee Cartwright leading people astray, as always.
Foolish. Never listen
Sam
to
Mears,
Lee.
he lost by 2 points last week, but he avenged that this week, winning by 2 points against last week's podcast hero, Brandon, whose Sultana brand turned to all brand in a dismal...
Home brand version as well.
Yeah, the home brand. The one you get at bloody IGA.
Yeah, the mushy ones.
Geordie finally pulled the trigger on his wild card. He scored a respectable 74, but it wasn't enough to get the win. Lukey Wheeler, well done. We said last week, Luke Wheeler is on fire. He's won 3 in a row. He's one of the form players in the league. He didn't even play his wild card, and he top scored in the league 90 points. Well done,
90
Lukey. The Battle of the
Thanks,
Owens.
boys.
Battle of the Owens between Simeon and Perrin, both without a win this season. Who would break their duck? Perrin, he gave an emphatic answer to that question with a convincing win over Simeon. The correlation between wins and chat from Perrin is undeniable and leaves many people wondering what's in store for the group chat if Perrin continues his winning streak.
He's well on his way to a ban, it seems.
Rule changes left, right, and centre to suit him. Let's see what happens in weeks to come. The match between Tom Job and I finished level on 85 points, only for Trent Alexander-Arnold to come off the bench with 1 point, giving
Measly
Tom
one.
Job the win. It seems the hate being dished out to Tom Job in the comment section from last week's pod motivated the young doctor to unleash the beast
The
this
young
week.
doctor.
Tom actually sent me a text message this morning, and I quote, "Don't poke the bear or you're going to get the claws. Row."
And he had a photo attached to that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I can't share that here.
Yeah, he's wearing his undies.
It's a family-friendly stream.
Many people are wondering what's happening to Lee Cartwright. His dismal form in FPL has confirmed his place in the beer zone for Group 1. And I have to ask, is Lee Cartwright controlling his team? or has it been taken over by his evil doppelganger, Lee Cartwright? Pingers Paxton managed to steal himself away from trash-talking Perrin in the group chat to finally transfer out Lucas Moura and bring in Son, a move that saw him score a narrow win against Lee. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, there could only be one Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Only one man could finish the first group of fixtures undefeated. Lucas or Marcus. In a matchup that went right down to the final game, Marcus scored an amazing 2-point win over Lucas. Lucas had Sice in his team from Wolves, and he scored a goal, the defender, giving Lucas what many thought was going to be the win. But the goal was ruled out for offside, meaning that Marcus finishes as the only manager with 5 wins from 5 in Group 1. Well done, Marcus.
His way through. That was a extraordinary performance, scraping through. Well, not as deserved, but we'll take it. We'll take those points and run.
Yeah, for sure. Well done. You did really, really well. 5 from 5. So those are the results from game week 5. Let's have a look back at our bold predictions from game week 5. There were some really spicy predictions. How did your prediction come off in game week 5, Tommy?
So, yeah, I alluded to this earlier. As you know, I played my wild card. I got me really excited. And so throughout the week, I'd probably cycled through 20 to 25 players through my team, trying to figure out who to have and who to not have. And then on Thursday, when we did the pod, I decided for my team, I wasn't going to have Son or Kane in the team. And so my hands were tied with my bold prediction. I had to make the prediction that I've got to justify myself not having Son or Kane in the team. So I had to say, yeah, they're going to blank, and just hope it happens. And it didn't happen, simple as that. And that was the only difference between Brian and I's team. And when they score 16 and 13, whatever they did, it's a difference you can't overcome. And yeah, just a poor prediction.
Yeah, a very poor prediction there, Tommy. Unlucky. But can we just say that this is the second week in a row you've predicted a game to finish 0-0, only for there to be 6 goals scored?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, let's say I keep doing it. The run's got to eventually end. There's going to be a game that's 0-0. Has there been a 0-0 game at all this year?
One this morning, Burnley versus West Brom. That was the first 0-0 draw. But I think what we're hearing is if you predict a 0-0 draw this time round, then everyone jump on. Maybe even triple captain someone from that game.
Yeah.
It's opposite day in Tom.
Marcus, how did your bold prediction go from game week 5?
It was barely a bold prediction, and the not that bold prediction was pretty. It did not come through either. It was for Dallas. I think it was to get an assist. He just played a pretty standard game, played up the back. Leeds looked very sloppy. Had some chance, let a goal disallowed. Not that he was involved really, but I don't know. Didn't come out. Got a measly 2. But onwards and upwards. Should have, even gone for Aubameyang wouldn't have done me any good either. We had another poor game.
The old faithful Aubameyang's letting you down. So another dud from you, Marcus.
How about you, Ryan?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Last week, I predicted Timo Werner, who hadn't scored a goal in the season so far. I predicted Timo Werner to score 2 goals and to get a double-digit haul. And seem to remember that coming off exactly as
Seems like you did exactly that.
Absolute gold from me. I'm stoked with that prediction. So, yeah, absolutely.
You didn't back yourself and actually picking a new.
Yeah, I mean, I could have got him, but it meant I would have gone without Kane, and I want Kane for the next few weeks. So,
true, yeah.
Brandon was a guest on the pod last week. He predicted Ryan Brewster to score or to get a double-digit haul. Brewster with 1 point off the bench. Another all-brand prediction from Brandon Diaz. Brandon, you've got to avenge that somehow in the coming weeks. So those are the bold predictions. 1 from 4, not great, but I guess if you listen to me, you can't go wrong. All right.
I'm pretty sure the week before we had 0 from 4.
So it's an improvement.
It is
Getting better.
This week we got 2 from 4 coming. Probably not coming from Tom or I. Hey.
Well, Luke's on fire at the moment. I wouldn't put it past him to get one right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
We'll see.
that was game week 5. Speaking of the overall standings and the beer zone, who's in the receiving, who's in the owing, Tommy, can you run us through the standings? Who's finished up in the beer zone? Because we've now finished Group 1, and people are owed beers, and some people are owing beers.
So, the best part of the pod right now is all we all want to hear. We, ladies and gentlemen, are the authority on the beer tally. So, if you're not listening now, you better be listening.
Not a democracy, people.
This is
Aaron.
the rules have been decided.
Pepperin.
The Constitution has been framed and put in a museum in Mornington Peninsula.
Yeah.
Guess who's been practicing medicine without a license? That's right. Aaron.
Go!
Oh.
The table is as follows. The only 5-0 team, Marcus, obviously. Then going down the list, the 4-1 teams, Brian, Lucas, Daniel, David, Parley.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
A lot of 4-1 teams. Then the 3-2 teams, Tom Job, Luke W, Luke Wheeler with us today, still going down the table. They're the only 2 3-2 teams, Tom Job and Luke Wheeler. The 2-3 teams, Ryan, Brandon, Nikolai, Sam Mears, and myself. I'm the lowest 2-3 team.
Wait, so where does the beer zone cut off?
I'm about to. So we'll get to that. So, yeah. Now, the 1-4 teams.
Relax, bro.
Lee, Perrin, Geordie, Bailey. They're all the 1-4 teams. Simeon, the Soul, Owen manager. Still remember the Owen club. I remember I predicted him to leave the Owen club, but he's still part of it, which is a shame. So, for the beers.
He's having a good time there.
Yeah. Hope Perrin
We
left
have
the
a
keys.
good view, cheap beers. Pay for yourself, though.
Concerning the beers, the top 6 are owed beers. The bottom 6 are the owers of the beers. So I'll start with the top, and what I'll say is whether you're plus beers or at 0 or minus beers. So Marcus, you're at +4 beers. Well done. Brian, you're at +3 beers. Lucas and Daniel Baker, you're both at +2 beers. Well done, boys. David Murray and Parley Paxton are at +1 beers. +1 beer. Obviously on 0, Tom Job, Luke Wheeler, Ryan Laddie, Brandon Diaz, Nikolai Paxton and Sam Mears. They are all broken even. Nothing is owed to them and they owe nothing to no one at this stage.
Quickly on that, I'm impressed by Sam Mears' recovery there to get into the neutral zone. Well done, Sam Mears.
Yeah,
That's
well
a great
done,
recovery.
Yeah, and Nikolai's fallen to. He probably should have been in the top section, but he's fallen down the last couple of weeks to the just 2 spots above the beer owing zone. Now the beer owing zone, I'll read from.
Snake.
So that is the bottom 6. So from 13th to 18th. Now, unfortunately, I'm the only 2-win manager that is in the beer zone because my overall points are so low. Yeah. I'm the only 2 and 3 manager. The rest have only got 1 win or no win. So I'm at -1 beer. And also Lee is at -1 beer along with me. Perrin and Geordie, -2 beers. Bailey is at -3 beers. And Simeon is at -4 beers. All these boys got to dig deep into their pockets come into the season. But as you know, clean slate. These guys can turn their fortunes around, just as the top 6 can lose their fortunes just as quickly.
Yeah, fantastic. I love
a
that.
redemptive tale or a tale of tragedy where people owe beers, but hopefully not.
Yeah, this is a redemptive sport. It's a sport where people like Sam Burgess can come in and assault people, their wives, anyone, and then find redemption. That's what we love, a redemptive story.
Allegedly.
What really interests me out of those that table, Tom, is people like Lee and Geordie who are in the beer owing zone. those are
Yeah.
two people that at the beginning of the season were predicted to actually be in the top,
Yeah,
but they've not started the season well.
Yeah, no.
isn't it?
Okay, so that's looking back. We've got a fantastic special guest this week. Marcus, over to you for our Meet the Manager segment.
Oh, meeting the manager. Thanks, Luke, for coming. We're stoked that you could be here.
No worries.
Are you
Great
going to
to
use
be
the tried and true description of what it's like to be here? Like, how would you describe what it's like to be on this pod finally?
It's a little surreal, I'll be honest. Yeah, when I got the call up, I didn't quite know what to do. I almost turned it down. I thought I'm not worthy. And then I had a look at my score and I thought, yeah, I might be worthy this week.
I do.
Probably
rule.
the only week I'll top the score.
Yeah.
The only
You
week
are
I'm going to
worthy.
take home the chockies. So,
Well
so
done.
yeah, thank
No,
you.
we're
I
stoked,
love
yeah.
being here. It's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. We're having a nice civil conversation. That's what we like to do on the Tight 15. Now to more pressing matters. Luke, on this chat, there's some people that you were saying you don't like. Do you mind listing them off again? There was three guys in this chat.
On this chat,
As in our fantasy.
that's a tough one. I think currently the top three would be Perrin would be in there. He's doing.
No.
Perrin's doing a lot of chat currently.
No. Who's your most hated people in the chat?
Yeah, he said Perrin.
That's what I mean. Top three most hated people.
Oh, top three. I was
Yeah,
up to the other way. Sorry.
He's changing the rules. I mean, who does that? Come on.
Yeah, we don't like
We're
Perrin
in the
on the
middle of a
pod.
season. You can't move the goalposts now that we've started. Just because a list is on your tail about all the money you're going to be paying doesn't mean we can start changing the rules.
No
around.
diplomatic answers here. This is the opposite. This is anti-Brandon. All right, bring us more.
Who would be second? Probably Dave Murray. Dave Murray, he doesn't talk much in the chat. It's just not
true.
cricket, you know? Like a few more comments wouldn't kill him. I know Simeon hasn't said anything, but that's consistent at least.
Yeah.
But Dave chirps in once or twice, then he disappears. Anyway.
Yeah, and it would
So,
particularly grind your gears because he drops in once or twice, walks away with a free beer,
Yeah.
contribute.
I know.
But
I mean,
each manager to their own. They manage their own teams the way they wish, and their own chats the way they wish. Would you say overall, are you enjoying? Because I know there was some heated discussions in amongst the NRL fantasy chat in members of this current podcast. I assume everything's been made up. Have you found that it's been a lot easier to keep your cool and to not want to kill members of the chat in FPL versus NRL?
That's a very good question. I'll answer it like this. So in the NRL fantasy realm, there's a certain level of honor and respect. Some people bring honor and respect to it. Some people spit all over its memory. I lost my cool a few times. There were a few people, nameless people, who might have decided to tarnish the reputation by foolishly claiming moves of other people as their own. And that really got my jimmies.
Let's just call
I've
him
understood
Brian
that EPL.
Batty.
Can we just call a spade here? Luke, use names, please.
Well, all I can say is the EPL pod, as we are making here, it's blatantly cheating. We just use advice from anyone and we just copy it down. And I understand that. NRL, make your own moves, Ryan. Make your own moves. Don't be a sheep, be a shepherd.
Okay.
All right?
Bishop, Ryan, your rebuttal, please.
Yeah, I don't really have to say too much other than I came first and Luke came fourth. So I'll just let the standings speak for themselves.
Oh, are you actually sure you came first in NRL?
You didn't come first.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Come
did.
first.
Not quite how I remember it. You know,
I don't remember it at all
like.
like that. In
Oh,
fact, I
sorry.
remember Tom Mulheron does owe somebody a case.
I do, yeah.
And actually, this is this is a throwback and only a few people will get this. But Ryan, we have to remember that Brian owes 3 jugs. Oh, he's actually going to show it. Okay.
Mate, that's
Everyone is
very much
watching.
the
We played
wrong-
head to head. We played head to head.
Head-to-head.
There was a finals round. Ryan bumped out in the quarters. Yeah, I can't really.
Ryan, you know what you sound like right now? Perrin, trying to change the rules and us. Oh, I came first overall.
No, but we have to remember Brian's trying
That's
to
not how it
sling his way
works.
out of it. Brian's trying to sling his way out of it. Ryan owes 3 jugs to myself, Ryan, and Lucas. And it's of Ryan's choice. That's from last year's fantasy EPL.
Oh, he hasn't paid up.
Ryan, just in case you were trying to slink away with that one. But anyway, back to you. Sorry, I know we're probably pressing up to 10 minutes at the moment. We need to stop at 15. There's talk, and we've seen bits and pieces of your website, Luke.
Yep.
Giving it a bit of a wrap at the moment because we've seen it.
There's a.
We need it. We like it. It's good.
For those who aren't familiar, we made a little Google site, and I put a few profiles of everyone in the league. Just kind of came up with a few things that are pretty accurate. A few accurate images I took from people's performances, and put a little bit of a bio in to help describe them. And that's where we're going to keep track of all the beers owed and the beers earned as we go along. Pretty good. I'll post it in the chat again tomorrow for those people who don't know it.
It'll be updated for the previous 5 rounds.
Yeah, sites.google.com/MiladyMaleague.
HTTP at the start.
There it is.
Star it in the chat.
Yeah, it should be. It'll come up in the YouTube video. Tommy?
Yeah, it'll come up here.
Link in the description. Click the link in the description.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Yeah, it'll come up here.
But yeah, I'm working on a little bit of a graphic that I'll post up there and probably put in the group chat. So stay tuned for that, everyone.
Oh, we're tuning. Don't worry. Hurst, did you have any rebuttals or anything for Luke?
Yes, I do have a question. I've got one serious question and then one non-serious question. Let's start with the serious question, Luke. You mentioned before that you've played NRL fantasy. You're a bit of a fantasy sports veteran, played a few different formats of the game, but never played FPL before. There are a few people in our league who haven't played FPL before as well. So what have you learned about FPL that you've enjoyed, or what have you learned about FPL that you found challenging?
Well, first I'd say that the thing that I found challenging and I've actually enjoyed more is with NRL fantasy, you rely on yourself a lot. You kind of go, I understand the plays. I understand who's looking good, who's not looking good, and who's going to earn me a lot of points. With FPL, it's nothing like that. I feel like you're guessing all the time. And so the best thing you can do actually is to listen to other people's advice. So I'll just kind of trawl through different Twitter pages and stuff and just look for the overall advice, and I'll go for the majority pick. It's a tried and true method, I find. And it's helped me so far. It took me a while to click in. First few rounds, real rusty. My first team, utter trash, like absolutely. As the league started, I was like, man, I'm going to come right at the end. The Owen Club was going to be my house. I was ready to move in. But then, I started to look around for a bit of advice from other smarter people. So I'd say if you're really struggling, if you're in the doghouse, Simeon, then I'd say definitely look around for some different advice and find some smarter people than you. That's kind of what I'd say for that.
Yeah, I like that.
Aimed at Simeon being dumb.
No, being 0 and 5 more so than dumb.
But it just goes to show a bit of resilience, a bit of research, and you can recover with the 3 R's. Resilience, research leads to
and
recovery.
Don't listen to Lee. That's the other point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Good stuff. And are you enjoying FPL? How are you finding the game overall?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun actually. I'm surprised about how much fun I'm having. I thought I'd be real lost, but it's making me enjoy all the rounds a lot more. I like the banter going on that page. The little group chat's a lot of fun. The more you engage, the more fun you have, I find. So unless you're parlay, in which case maybe just tune it down a little bit, just a little lower.
Too engaged.
Too engaged. But it's been great. Yeah, I really loved it.
A quick shout for watching the game at Lee's house. He's been very kind to host a few times, or every time. And it's very fun. So if you get around, as long as I imagine he has said the invite will extend indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
Come along, bring whoever you like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, to the good times.
It must be said that Lee Cartwright's hospitality is unparalleled when it comes to sporting matches and events.
Correct.
So thanks, Lee. And if anyone watching this podcast, whether you're a part of the league or whether you're just someone on YouTube who's bored, if you want to go to Lee's house to watch the football on a Saturday
His
night,
address.
you're more than welcome. His address is.
No, but if we look, apart from the beer tally, you'd think at the moment the spirit of Milady Malig, you know, there's always that award for like, the spirit
Players
of
player. The
Milady.
players player.
Mm.
Well, I don't know. No, but there's like the spirit award.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're not necessarily the best. They're not
The
necessarily
Tim
like,
Manor Award.
yeah, they're just like, they just go above and beyond. Lee's my pick for the Milady Malig Spirit Award.
Mm.
Yeah.
He's done so much to foster just great vibes and great times.
Yeah.
One final question for you, Lukey. This is a non-serious question. You've kind of touched on it before, but the classic shoot, shag, and marry. Who would you shoot? Who would you shag? And who would you marry from the league?
That's a very good question. I think I would. I think I would. Well, that's really tough. I don't know. I think I would have to shoot.
Darren.
shoot. Either Perrin or Parlay. I can't do. One of the two.
Oh, poor Perrin.
Probably Perrin just by nose.
Perrin just had a bad
Perrin,
day.
Stop changing rules, buddy. That doesn't fly with me.
Buddy.
Shag would probably be probably Lucas. I think he'd be a good lover. Yeah.
Why? Why is he a good lover?
Those firm. He's got that kind of securely dad bod kind of thing going on. It just makes you feel warm. Makes you feel welcome.
Where's the
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that's going there.
And marry.
Oh, easy. That's the easiest one of them. Tom Job. That guy, hand jobby. He is a beautiful man. He would look great. Imagine a wedding photo with him in it. Oh.
Yeah.
I love that as well, because
probably the prettiest on the pod.
if we talk up Tom Job, he's going to have a terrible game week in game week 6. So Tom Job, you're a great guy.
Club.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Luke. It's great to have you on. Let's look ahead now to game week 6. As you mentioned before, this is the first game week of Group 2. So everything is refreshed. Everyone is on 0. We start again. Game week 6. What's happening, Tommy?
So game week 6. Up first on the list, we've got Bailey against Lucas. Now, I'll just disclose this. Before we started recording the pod, Ryan made a comment regarding Bailey that everyone had used their lots of people used their wild cards last week, and everyone in the league had a decent enough team, bar Bailey. But he said Bailey's team is actually really bad, and I'm sorry, Bailey. He said it. We all think the same. You're gonna have a big loss to Lucas this week, and the only way is up for you, but the gradient is 90 degrees nearly for you to climb up.
It's almost wild card territory for him.
You almost need to use all your chips now, next 3 weeks, just to get out of it. I don't know what you can do, actually.
Can we welfare check him?
Nah.
Is he has anyone cited him in the past week? He didn't change his team.
No, I saw him on Sunday, and I was like, "You've captained Aubameyang." He's like, "Yeah, I'm always going to captain Aubameyang." And I thought, okay, fair enough. He knows he's he put thought into it, but just the wrong thoughts. So
good to hear he's still going well.
Yeah.
Never get emotional with fantasy.
Yeah,
that's another rule.
We got Marcus against Lee. I think Marcus will win this. I think he goes to 6-0.
No, dude.
Lee will go to 1-5.
You never picked me. I'm gonna freaking lose now.
That's why I picked you.
No.
Yeah, Lee will go to 1-6, but he's pretty much he's only 0-1. Lee will be, and Marcus will be 1-0. Restarts. Like when your coach says at halftime, still 0-0. That sort of vibe. Parlay against Tom Job. They both had pretty good weeks last week. I think Tom Job's going to go on a bit of a tear now. I'm going to say Tom beats Parlay here. Ryan against Perrin. Ooh, Perrin. What to do with you?
Battle of the helmets.
No cheese for you two.
But I think Ryan wins. I think Perrin's disgruntledness. He'll make a bad trade decision this week, and Ryan will just pip him this week, I think.
I back Perrin for this week.
Okay.
I feel.
Simeon against Geordie. This is simple. I'm going to say Simeon's going to win this because I don't think anyone will be 0-6.
Wow.
I think, and Geordie not doing too great either. There's a bottom of the table clash. I'm going to say Simeon wins this. Luke Wheeler against Sam Mears. Yeah, I think Luke has when did you wildcard? Like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago now.
3 weeks ago. Yeah, no, you built that real strong. You're going to go on a bit of a tear as well. I think Sam's going to be in trouble here. I think Luke has another big win.
Can I just say that I'm very happy that you picked me because I was very offended last week when you slammed Geordie. You said his team was terrible. He was doing the worst in the league, and then said, "Oh, he'll still beat Luke easy," and then just moved on like it was
I
nothing.
did say that.
That was a real.
I did say that.
It's the first time I think you've picked me in 5 weeks.
Oh, probably. Well, Luke, you know what it means? It means you're listening, and we love our listeners.
Thank you. I'm listening every week.
Yeah, awesome.
So I feel honoured to be picked.
Yeah.
And remember, but also it's the curse of Tom's picks. It's opposite land over wherever he's.
Oh yeah. He was 2 from 9 last week, I think. So.
Oh, you counted that? Oh no.
I'm keeping count. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got to keep him accountable.
Oh yeah, you should go back and record them all. Yeah. Anyway.
No content if you get them all wrong.
Yeah. Now my matchup this week is against Brandon. I just a second ago looked at Brandon's team. Doesn't have any Tottenham players to scare me. I think my sexy team that I was talking about last week will have a win. We got kind of similar teams, but the differences are not Son and Kane. I think I'm going to beat Brandon this week. I'm going to get back to 3-3. In the middle of the table. Brian against Nikolai. Brian had a good week last week. I think Nikolai's going to keep sliding down the table, though. I think Brian's going to be too strong. He's scoring very highly with his Tottenham players to help. I think even without his Tottenham players, he should do well. But I think Nikolai will lose and keep sliding down the table.
I predicted Nikolai to come in the bottom 3.
Yeah,
people
going to get there.
Slithering is later last.
It's coming true.
Yeah, and then we've got David Murray against Daniel Baker to round out the game week. Now, Marcus made the observation that Dave Murray is higher than he probably should be, but Dan Baker is high also and right where he should be, and I think Daniel will stay there. I think David had his soar to the heights and is going to fall down again quickly. I think Daniel is going to have another good week and stay up in the top 3 or 4 overall scores, and obviously 3 or 4 in the head-to-head league. And that rounds out game week 6.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
Some great fixtures. I'm looking forward to that. Should be good. All right, let's go to our bold prediction for game week 6. Starting with you, Luke Wheeler. What's your bold prediction for game week 6?
Let me get my bold predictions here. So I kind of came up with 2 of them. I kind of came up with a more league-centered one and then a fantasy one because I thought everyone wants a fantasy pick. I'll go with a fantasy pick first. It's less spicy, less vanilla. Okay, so Jimenez, my boy, finally scored. Got a goal. Be it a bit of a deflection. Still got a taste in goals. I think he's going to go on this week. He's going to go bag. How many? I'm going to say he's going to bag a brace. He's going to bag a brace and concede a yellow card. That's what I'm going to say he's going to do.
That is very specific. I want sports bet will give you big odds for that.
That's it. Brace and yellow card for him. And also, we had a lot of close games this last round. A lot of goals being scored. And so I am going to predict, despite there being a lot of 2-alls, 3-alls, 0-alls, 1-alls, I'm going to say there's not going to be a single draw this next game round.
Oh.
That's it's a bit of a differential, I'm going for something slightly different.
You should put some money on that in all seriousness. I wonder what you'd pay out.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I think. I think there's lots of draws. Everyone's got a taste for goal. Like, you know what? Let's not have bore draws. Everyone wants to see winners and losers.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see here.
So you mean draws with the Premier League teams? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
It won't
Premier
be
League
any draws.
team. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Not in our one. That's
Yeah.
probably not going to happen. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean that all the games for match day 6.
Yep. Cool. All right. Good stuff. Thanks, Luke. Marcus, what's your bold prediction for game week 6?
Bold prediction this week. Again, a little bit vanilla, more of like a helping the Bachelors out, of which I might follow my own advice. There's that 4 million defender from Wolves, Kilman, who broke Ryan's heart by being third on his bench, getting 12 points. Man of them. It seems likely that he'll start, like he'll keep starting. It'd be his spot to lose, seeing as he's kept, I think it's been 2 clean sheets. I mean, he's had attacking output. I know that there's 2 dudes who Lee will definitely edit this part to fill in the correct information. But there's 2 guys who could compete for his spot, but it's definitely his at the moment. 4 million, coming off some huge scores. Wolves are playing Newcastle this week, who haven't really. They've been on and off. Like they were pretty crap on the weekend against Man U. So I do pick him to actually be a solid choice. He'll snag you attacking returns some weeks, and it seems like he will be nailed down for a 4 million starter in defence. That's very, very good. And I know I always use it as my cop-out prediction, but Aubameyang's sliding in value. He's worth 11.8 now, and he's I think he's like he'd be top 6 most transferred out. Playing Leicester, I don't know. Leicester haven't looked particularly good. Do you see his pace getting used out wide? I don't know. I'm not going to say he's going to do anything amazing because every time I do, he does the opposite. But the same way that De Bruyne, as soon as he comes back, he's going to be red flagged, yellow flagged. He's going to slot back in when we don't know when, because we've gotten Guardiola given very inexact information. Very likely that he'll start this week and actually do well. Like they need someone like him, particularly with Aguero back. He'll be eating up points soon enough.
Yeah, good stuff. Certainly, if Aubameyang fires against Leicester, that could prove valuable for Bailey, who seems to have the captaincy armband stuck on Aubameyang.
He doesn't know how to take it off.
Yeah.
It's a glitch in the app.
He just doesn't know. But yeah, that could work wonders for him. Tommy, what's your bold prediction for game week 6?
So it's with the West Ham versus Man City game this week. Now Kevin De Bruyne last week took the game off just to have a rest. I think it wasn't so much an injury; it was just he'd been overworked for a while with international fixtures and had a rest. I had him on my bench last week, and that probably cost me. But I digress. Anyway, I think Kevin De Bruyne will have another big double haul game, like a 12+ game, scoring some goals and assists, 1 goal, 2 assists and a bonus as well. I don't think it could be clean sheet though, City, but I'm going to say De Bruyne will have a big game against West Ham.
I like it. De Bruyne back and fireworks for Man City. My bold prediction for game week 6 is that Perrin will only propose 3 new rule changes midweek.
Oh, man.
I know
What's
3
the
seems
line?
like
What's the line on Sportsbet?
I think that's probably paying $7.50.
Oh, yeah.
If Dave Perrin snaps is going to be a scary day.
Yeah.
I thought we said no vanilla picks.
True. All right, my real bold prediction for game week 6, and this is what you want to listen out for. I've been right so many times. My bold prediction for game week 6 is Aguero is back.
He's back, baby.
Aguero's back, baby. And he is going to score and get a double-digit haul against West Ham.
Wow.
I'm going to go and say that he'll only score 1 goal, but when you factor in bonus and he'll get an assist, he'll get 10+ points. So Aguero, he's a good option if you don't have Kane and you want a bit of a differential.
Do you think he'll get more than Kane? Do you think he'll get more than Kane?
This week?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think Kane will just outscore him.
Okay. So
How much does Aguero cost?
10.3, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
10.3.
Good option there. He's cheaper than
Wow.
Kane. Good price. But my second bold prediction is about a guy called Ademola Lookman. He is a 5 million midfielder for Fulham. He used to be on the books of Everton, but he's playing up front for Fulham next to Mitrovic. He played his first game, or he started his first game last week, scored a goal and got 10 points. This guy's worth $5 million in midfield. Fulham, they're not a great team, but they've got some good fixtures coming up. And if you need to save some money, $5 million for Ademola Lookman is the way to go. He is also going to score a goal this week.
Okay.
Right.
Damn.
So those are the bold predictions for game week 6. We're just about...
Will we be on pens? Sorry, will we be on pens? Take Mitrovic, seeing as he's missed. I think he missed like 4 out of 10. The past 10
it's a brave man who takes penalties off a dirty Serbian. He's a mean guy, Mitrovic. I wouldn't like to meet him in a dark alley. Dan Baker versus Mitrovic in a wrestle would be good. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing that by the fire with a wombat roasting nicely. But look, we're out of time for this episode of the Type 15. We hope you've enjoyed it as always. There are lots of midweek games this week, so save your transfer until the end if you can. And all the best for game week 6. See you next week.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Luke.
Thanks for having me, guys. All the best.